Good morning, students of class 10. Welcome back to the online classes now. So now I hope you are going through the online portal every day. So now you should not miss your classes. Today we'll do a new chapter in history. So far we have learned two other lessons. Now today we are doing the new lessons. The main chapter of the history, the rise of nationalism in Europe. So here in this we have to learn three different topics. Rise of nationalism in Europe, one. Rise of nationalism in Russia, and the third is rise of nationalism in India. So these three main chapters. So we'll start with this. The rise of nationalism in Europe. Now here, before we'll have some introductions before the chapter. So in 1848, we are talking about 1848, a French artist. There were many artists, but this one was special. This artist his name is very special because he had visualized what a democratic country should like, or what is a democratic country. He has shown by drawing pictures. Because during this period, the European countries were ruled by the kings, Bourbon kings, despotic kings, cruel kings. Most of the kings were very cruel. So in 1848, a French artist named Frédéric Soriot, his name is Frédéric Soriot, drew 4 pictures, 4 paintings. This artist drew 4 paintings showing the democratic and society, democratic social country, nation. What is a nation state? What is a free country? So what is the meaning of liberty? So he has shown. So he has drawn 4 paintings, visualizing means showing his dream. He had a dream that the country should be free, there should not be any kings, people should rule the country. So visualizing his dream of a world made up of democratic, means the country ruled by the people, democratic and social republic. Social republic, all the people should be considered as one, there should not be any differences, there should be equality. Social republic. He had dreamt, because the countries were ruled by the king, he had dreamt an idea. He was a great artist and he drew the picture visualizing a democratic and social republic. In the first picture which you have seen here, this is the first picture drawn by Soriot. Here is a long line of people identified by their customs and their flag, national flag. And here is a Statue of Liberty. Why he has drawn the Statue of Liberty? Because people were not much educated. They don't know what is the meaning of freedom. Freedom cannot be seen, cannot be touched. So he has drawn the Statue of Liberty. Liberty means freedom, as personified as a living person. And Switzerland and America had already crossed, means they had achieved freedom. And now here France, the people of France have approached or reached liberty. So now here is a visualization. Here is a despotic kingdom which is destroyed and the people are now one after another. So they will unite together, fight against the despotic king, and they will pass and achieve liberty. So now here is the picture tells us a story. So now here this is a picture drawn by Frédéric Soriot. In the first picture he had shown people of Europe. These are all the people of Europe and America. These are all the people of Europe and America. The people of Europe and America had already passed. These are the people of Europe, of different countries. So marching in a long line, they are marching in a long line. You can see there, offering respect. As they reach over here, they show respect. Respect means now they have reached the liberty, They will fight for the liberty, fight for the freedom, and they will reach over here and cross. That means they will achieve freedom. So, offering respect. Respect means homage to the Statue of Liberty. Statue of Liberty. So, how he will describe or show the people what is freedom, what is liberty means. So, it is very difficult to make people understand freedom. It cannot be seen, it cannot be touched. So, that's why he drew a statue, a picture of a lady figure. Statue of Liberty, as they pass by it, they pass. As they pass, they will achieve freedom. Here they are struggling for freedom, and there are one after another. If one country achieves freedom, the other country will try also to achieve freedom by looking at, oh, they have achieved freedom, now they are nation state. There is no king, their people rule the country. Their people are ruling the country. So we must also do the same. They will revolt against the king and they will achieve liberty. So now here, the artist personified, just now I am telling you, liberty. How to express or how to make people understand what is liberty means. So that's why he personified, considered as a living, liberty as a female figure. Liberty, freedom, he has shown as a female figure. And that is personified. Personified means considered as a living being, living. So, liberty, freedom, liberty means freedom. Freedom is personified as a female figure. He has drawn a female figure. So, to make people understand. Now here, the female figure of liberty. Here, the female figure of liberty he has drawn. Bears the torch in one hand. Here is a torch, you can see clearly. Here is a torch in one hand, and here is a paper, list of rights, human rights, of people's right. So the female figure of liberty bears the torch of enlightenment. Enlightenment means now they know what liberty means, what right means. Till now the kings, they are ruling the country. There is no right and people are not free. People cannot express. They have no rights. And they are living in the dark. Only the kings, minister, they are enjoying. They are having a high time. But the people, they are suffering. So, in one hand there is a torch, and in another hand there is a paper, piece of paper, and in the paper rights are written. So, the female figure is holding the torch, bear means holding, the torch of enlightenment, knowledge in one hand, and the list of rights of a man on the other. On the other hand, there is a piece of paper, list of rights a man enjoys once he is free, liberty. So Soryu, he was a very great artist. He has imagined and he had drawn this picture, and this picture had a great impact towards the people of Europe, especially France. The people are grouped as distinct nations. You can see there, people are grouped as distinct nations because of their flag. Because of the flag. Nations identified by the flag and the costume. Costume means dress. Each country, they have their own dress, traditional dress they wear, and with that dress he has identified various people of different countries. Leading the procession, leading means in front. Leading the procession the way past. Way past. Way past means past the Statue of Liberty. Way past the Statue of Liberty are United States. Yani United States had achieved freedom before French Revolution, and Switzerland. These two countries, they have achieved freedom before this, before French Revolution. If anyone asks you, name the two countries that achieved their independence, freedom before French Revolution, so you can answer them, America and Switzerland. These two countries have achieved freedom long before French Revolution. They were nation states. Nation means free states. Now there are no kings, people rule. It's a democratic country. Free states. France has just reached the statue. France has just reached the statue. Now it is the France turn to achieve freedom. The people will struggle, people will revolt against the despotic King Louis, and they will achieve freedom and they will pass. So this he visualized in the first pictures. Patrick Soriot visualized this idea of democratic social republic. Democratic social republic, what a country should be like, what the people have to do. They have to march. So, French Revolution, now we will start. Nationalism in Europe. Nationalism means Deshbhakti, patriotism. To live and die for the country. That's called nationalism. Feel great about the country. Should be proud of your country. You must be ready to die for your country. Ready to do anything for the country. That is called nationalism. Rise of nationalism in Europe. How it emerged. How nationalism emerged in Europe. And later on in Russia. And later on in India. So we'll talk about part by part differently. So now we have, still we can do it. So this, now before this, later on a question will be asked. Why French Revolution is called the mother of all revolution? Why? So there is a reason for it. So we will learn about the causes, about the feeling of nationalism. What are the causes? What happened? In our class 9 we have learned about French Revolution, but still we will learn a lot more about in detail. And before French Revolution, America and Switzerland also, they achieved their freedom. Why they are not called the mother of revolution? Because they also achieved freedom before French Revolution. Because here, United States and Switzerland, they have achieved freedom beforehand. But here they have not struggled that much, because French Revolution, here the people have given rights. People have given various rights and duties. Here it is not given. Here it is not mentioned. Here different artists, different writers, poets, authors, artists, they have given various ideas about the democratic countries. So now we will talk about that later on. So this much for today. We'll meet in the next class and continue our lesson in the rise of nationalism in Europe. First we will do that. Then later on we will do rise of nationalism in Russia, the Russian Revolution, rising. Then we will talk about nationalism in India. So that's all for today. We'll meet in the next class and continue. You have to go through regularly. Go to the online portal regularly. Do not miss the classes. So I'll explain properly so that you will not have any difficulties. Then I'll provide you the list also, the list of chapters which are omitted. You don't have to study. So that's all for today. Thank you very much for watching.